Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me on The Art and the Artist. I'm your host, LA Phil. In this episode, I got to speak with GQ, a super talented artist out of Greenville, Mississippi, and graduate of the University of Southern Mississippi with a bachelor's in art. He says the city that raised him is the city that made him, and as you'll see, the lessons he's learned are interwoven throughout his artwork. In his own words, he likes to create art that reflects self-acceptance and being loud about who you are in this world. So without further ado, I present GQ. Thank you so much for taking the time. I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. I think you're probably one of the first artists I started following on Twitter, and it's an honor to talk to you, man. It really is.
No, man, I appreciate you having me on, man.
All right, well, let's get right into it then. I was reading on your website, gqart.com, everybody, just the artist bio, a line said out, it said, the city that raised me is the city that made me. So you grew up in Greenville,
Yes,
Mississippi. And how do you think growing up in that city influenced the way that you see things, the people around you, just the whole city in general?
It was honestly a combination of a lot of things. Greenville is it's a small city. It's like one of those small country type cities. So it's not a lot to do. So, you know what I'm saying? Growing up, you kind of just got to make the most of what you got. So a lot of imagination comes into play. A lot of creativity comes into play. Humble beginnings. It's a lot of, like I said, imagination and creativity that you have to have as a kid just to have fun. You know what I'm saying? If you wanna have fun and not get in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of ways to get in trouble. But just to be creative and playing with my cousins and my friends around the neighborhood, we had to. It was sometimes we would play baseball with a stick and a rock. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got to make your own fun. I get it.
Yeah. So, and I feel like a lot of that comes into my artwork, where my artwork is not a direct reference of the things I see around me. It's more of an interpretation of the things I see around me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I try to view it from a different lens. You know what I'm saying? I try to interpret it in my own way, from my own mind, and I think that's where I thrive with my artwork, is just, continuously trying to figure out different ways to interpret sometimes pretty simple ideas,
Okay. That brings me up to one of your pieces, creative freedom. Do you feel like that there is a box that people want to put artists in? The very nature of creating art lends to people going outside of the box, looking at things differently. People want to put you in a certain box and say, oh, you got to paint this way. You got to do it exactly this way. Did you ever have to, just kind of talk to yourself and say, okay, there are no rules?
Yeah. And honestly, it goes beyond just artists, man. I feel like people in general, just every person, I think growing up, your parents, your grandparents, somebody wants something for you so badly that they kind of try to steer you in that direction. You know what I'm saying? If you come up and you're super good at sports, people might try to steer you to be an athlete. If you're super book smart, people might try to steer you to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. So creative freedom was just a piece that spoke to that, the freedom to be whatever and do whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in terms of specifically artists, I think that there's definitely a box that people try to put artists in.
Yeah.
There's such a wide variety of types of artists, and you follow, I'm pretty sure you follow plenty of artists on Twitter. So you see all of the different styles of art that's put out into the atmosphere. And I think that's great. But being a person who was an art major in college, I've experienced firsthand in those critiques where you're being graded on your knowledge of the elements of art. So it kind of boxes you in terms of how you create, because you're so focused on trying to get that grade. That you may box in your creativity because you might have a professor who just doesn't rock with it that way. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you're trying to graduate. So you kill your creativity trying to please this certain professor. And I definitely experienced that in college. And it's funny because I paint. I'm a painter now, but I've never taken a painting class. You know what I'm saying? In college, that was the one class I never took, and it's ironic that as I graduated, that's what I fell in love with. You know, and I believe that's because I didn't have the experience of having my paintings critiqued. You know, I was a graphic design major, so I've had my graphic design work critiqued. I took ceramics in college. So I had my ceramics critiqued. I had my print making work critiqued. I had my drawings critiqued. So, you know, it does create a sense of creating something that people will enjoy versus creating something that you enjoy to create. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what art essentially should be about. You know, having fun with what you're creating. And if the people love it, that's great. But if they don't, shit, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love it. So that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? I had fun creating it. And I think that's what creative freedom speaks to more than anything, you know, just breaking out of that box, like you said, you know, and having all of these ideas and all of the things you can imagine just lay out on this canvas in a way that speaks to who you are. Because I think as an artist, and I could be wrong, but I feel like as an artist, you should always want your art to speak to who you are in some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I feel like when it's personal to you, you put more effort into it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that energy transfers off of the canvas into the eyes and into the hearts of the people who's looking at it. So, you know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And the thing that I like, especially going on your website, is you put the descriptions, you know, underneath the pieces. Now, what I like to do, like usually if I'm going to a museum or something, I'm gonna take a look at it first, kind of interpret the way that it makes me feel, and then I'll go read, you know, the description that the artist puts on underneath the painting. The thing that I like about it is, you know, it's like you said, you get to see a little bit into the artist's mind, right? I get to see your vision, the way you saw it, and the way you interpreted on the canvas. And also with the description underneath, you get a little bit more insight into the artist's mind, the space they were in when they were creating it, or, you know, just what it means to them. Another one of your pieces, Chaos and Isolation. Okay.
Okay, that's what you was about to say.
This is maybe my favorite one. This one is awesome. It seems like, you know, this pandemic is never going to end. You know, it's
right.
Every time, you know, it seems like it's getting better, something else happened. Did the pandemic make it harder for you to be creative? When you make art, when you're thinking about a piece to, you know, to make, is it more so you're thinking about experiences that you're having right now? Like, you know, we were all indoors. Did that kind of stifle it because you weren't able to go out into the world and experience much? Or do you pull more from the past, like you said, growing up, the environment that you had lived in before, or a combination of the both? And just how was it, you know, creating during the pandemic? I could imagine that it had to be a little tough just because you couldn't go out and experience anything.
Nah, yeah, it was super tough. Honestly, I didn't even, well, I guess you can say I did complete it during the pandemic because the pandemic never ended. But I started working on that piece maybe April, like a month into the pandemic or whatever. But it was super hard to create during that time. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's kind of like with everything going on in the world, that's the last thing on your mind. You know, painting. You know, and some people escape the trials of life through their artwork. And, you know, I've never been that type of person. I find different ways to escape. But for me to create, I have to be in a solid mindset. You know what I'm saying? My mindset has to be solid to create. You know, I can't create with a clouded mind, you know. So Chaos and Isolation came about because it was me trying to work myself out of it, trying to work myself out of that mental space that I was in. Because to be honest, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, man, what is this? Like, you know, do I have it? I'm constantly like checking for a sore throat. I'm checking for a sore throat every day, waking up, you know, my anxiety. Like, that's when I first realized I had like real bad anxiety. You know, I started going to therapy and all these different things. And I started trying to work on this piece. And you know, for a while, I got maybe 2 or 3 panels in, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't revisit this piece until maybe a year later
Really?
when I
Wow.
finished it up.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, that piece just sat there for a while. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, yeah, it was insane trying to create during that time. You know,
Yeah.
and I didn't even have the motivation to create during that time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was tough for me. That was tough for me too, because you know, I'm the type of person where if I can't paint for a while, I kind of start to get antsy. Like
Yeah.
it's like, yo, I need to paint something. Like I need to work on
Yeah.
something. You know, I just get antsy because for me, like I can't see myself doing anything else. That's how I knew I wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
Like I just went down the checklist of things that I could possibly be, and
Yeah.
none of them sounded good. None of them felt as good as
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that's why I do what I do, because there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing else out there for me, you know.
Okay. So have you always been, artistic? Did you know from a young age that you were pretty good at this? Or did you know, was your family supportive of it when they found out you want to be an artist? I always ask this question because I could imagine, especially a Black parent, you tell them, all right, I'm going to be a painter, just the reaction that's going to get.
um, well, first, I didn't know I wanted to be an artist
Mhm.
until maybe when I'm 26 now. I was probably about 23 when I
Wow.
really knew I
Really?
wanted to be an artist. Yeah,
Okay.
because growing up, I didn't even comprehend that being an artist was something you could
Yeah.
do.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? I knew I could draw
Okay.
and everything like that, but artist, the two things didn't line up in my brain. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So by the time I was old enough to understand that this is what I want to be, an artist, I had nothing but full support from my parents. You know what
Oh,
I'm
that's
saying?
great. Yeah.
Like they're probably my biggest supporters, my biggest fans. Anything I
Yeah.
post on Facebook, they're reposting it and sharing it. Like those are my biggest fans. Like I was
Uh-huh.
laughing the other day because my mama added me to this oil painting group and she was posting all my work. And I was
Uh,
like, Ma, I don't even do oil paint. Like I don't even do oil paint.
she got to support no
But
matter what.
yeah, she gonna support no matter what, whether she understands the
Yeah.
ins and out of it or not. She just like, they're painting in that group, my son's painting, they gonna see what my son doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've had full support from my parents, and that was the thing that was most important to me,
Hmm.
because if you're doing something and your parents don't support you, it's kind of hard to get over
Yeah.
that mental hurdle. But that was never an issue for me. But
Oh,
but
that's great.
growing up, no, I didn't think being an artist was something attainable or something
Yeah.
that was even a thing. But I could always draw. I
Uh-huh.
started drawing in like third grade.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, and I just had a natural talent to do it, not realizing that my dad, and I just
Mhm.
found this out recently, my dad could draw and paint and
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah.
So I guess it was passed down, but it just started off as, cartoon characters, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah. Yeah.
those different types of things. And then I got to middle school and I started taking art
Hmm.
as an elective. And I was just like killing these,
Yeah.
killing the
Uh-huh.
projects. Every project we get, I'm killing them. And even then, it was just like, oh yeah, because I know how to draw. Of course, I can do these projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I get to high school, I kind of fade away from art. I'm not doing it as much. But anytime I needed some extra money,
Yeah.
I would draw something for somebody.
Hmm.
Somebody want a tattoo design, I'll draw a little tattoo for them. They go get it tatted.
Yeah.
Um, I'll never forget. I had this girlfriend in high school, and I was trying to buy her like a ring for Valentine's Day,
Uh-huh.
and it just so happened that we had this project where we had to draw the continents.
Okay.
So I drew my continents and everything. So I just started charging people to draw theirs for them, like
Okay.
charging them like $7 per person. So I'm
Okay.
racking up all of this money, and I ended up
Yeah.
being able to buy the ring or whatever. So that's what I saw my talent to draw as. Like, just
Yeah.
look something, grab some money.
Hmm.
And I get to college. I'm an athletic training major
Okay.
in college because once again, I didn't see artists as a thing. I didn't even know art was a major in college, first of all. So
it's crazy.
I'm athletic training because I love sports and I want to be around sports and everything. And I get in these classes and I'm failing because I'm bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm bored and I don't like all of the protocols and the rules and everything being so structured in this way where it's like there's no wiggle room to do anything. So I'm like,
oh yeah,
okay, what am I gonna do? And my friend at the time, who's my best friend to this day, his name is Jordan Whitfield. You might follow him on Twitter. His name is Young Walt.
Okay.
Young Walt Design on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, so
make sure me write that down.
he had just switched his major to graphic design. And he was like, bro, you can draw. Maybe you should try graphic design. So I tried it. I got in those classes, and the first class I was taking was 3D art, three-dimensional art. And my professor, Alan Chin, he was like, have you ever done this before? I was like, nah, it's my first time. Mm-hmm. He was like, you're so good at it. You're so good at it. Yeah. And I was like, just like killing, just getting A's. Yeah. I was just like, I didn't even know I was.
Wow.
You know, I didn't know I could do it.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, okay, I might be on to something here, you know, and, you know, it just kind of grew from there. And after I graduated, I started painting and I fell in love with it, you know.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So do you still do any graphic design work, or is strictly canvas painting right now?
I do it from time to time on like a commission style thing. Like somebody wants to commission a logo or something, I'll do it. I'm not really too fond of it, but
yeah,
I'll do it sometimes.
Okay. Necessary sometimes. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There was a question I wanted to ask you on your site, and just the shirt that you're wearing right now, Be More Than Just. What?
Yes, sir.
What is the message that you're trying to send with that?
Be more than just. It means just basically, once again, going back to like creative freedom. Don't box yourself in.
Yeah.
You know, just because I paint, that doesn't mean I'm just a painter.
Yeah.
You know, I can do whatever I put my mind to if that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's really what just Be More Than Just me. It's just don't limit yourself to being just one thing because that's what you're doing at that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We as humans, we have the ability to do any single thing we put our mind to, and we can do multiple things at once. Like, you know, I can be an artist, an entrepreneur, you know, a father, a son, a husband. I can be all of those things at once. I don't have to be just one of those things, you know. And I think a lot of people a lot of times get so caught up in the routine of everyday life, getting up, going to work, come home, watch some TV, go to sleep, get up, go to work. You know what I'm saying? So they get comfortable in their routine. And they're just like, okay, I mean, I'm paying my bills, I'm doing this, I'm cool. But are you happy with being just that?
Yeah.
Are you happy with doing just that? Is there anything else that you want for yourself? Because if there is, it's out there for you. All you gotta do is go get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can be more than whatever you are, you know, and with this, that's really what it comes down to. You know, that's what I want everybody to know and understand, you know, in the world, because, and especially kids coming up under me, you know, because I was one of those kids that thought, you know, if I do this, I can't do that. If I do that, I can't do this. You know, and a lot of kids think that. So that's the message that I want to put out, you know, and if when it's all over, if that message gets translated and kids can say that they saw this and they saw me and they understood that message and it helped them learn that they can do whatever they want to do in this world. Then, you know, I can say I lived a full life.
Yeah, that is a beautiful message. You know, it's funny because I was in that situation. I was, you know, working a job, you know, going through the routine. Then I thought to myself, okay, I'm at work. I got a lot of free time at work. That's why I follow so many artists. Like I said, so, you know, my dad was an artist. So I've been just around it, you know, my whole life. I lived in the arts district, you know, as a teenager growing up, you know, I see all these artists and I want everyone to see them too. You know, it's, you know, you might get, someone might like a post or even a retweet, but then that's it. They might not even follow you or even, go check out your website, go check out if you're, presenting somewhere or if you got stuff for sale, you know what I mean? And with that message, especially the kids, like you said, how did you know that you could be an artist for a living? You know what I mean? Like, whose mind does that cross? Someone creative, if it's not nurtured. Okay, I wanted to get to another one of your artworks, Spacing Out. You wrote a great description. Okay, so it says this piece was created as a visual representation of the mind of a creator, not just a visual creator, but a creator in any capacity. There's always nonstop brain function because the ideas never stop. Now, when you're painting, when you're really, focused in on something, do you like enter? I know a lot of musicians or athletes talk about this, like entering that zone, and before you know it, it's all done.
Hell yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. With that piece, it's funny because it came about because I was having a conversation with Jordan, Young Walt Design. We talk all the time, and I was just telling him, I was like, dude, and I was really asking, I was like, bro, do you just like always have ideas running through your head all the time? And he was just like, yeah, we was kind of talking about that. And it's sometimes literally I wake up out of my sleep because I have to write an idea down that I had in my sleep. It goes like that. I'm always having these ideas of things I can do and everything like that. And it was one of those pieces where I was super proud when I created it because I think all creators can relate to it,
Yeah.
Like even like, yourself, like with this podcast, you're a creator.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you have so many different ideas of the formats and the ways, the intros, all those different things. So I'm pretty sure you can relate to that. So
absolutely.
This piece, that piece was a good piece for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I said, I am a fan. Yeah, this one is fantastic. I like the piece of silent artist, right? So did music have a big influence on you? I mean, I wouldn't even say necessarily, having to do with art, just in general. Because I know, like for me, like I said, I'm a little bit older. I grew up in LA in the 90s. So I'm a kid and it's Snoop and it's Dr. Dre and Tupac and, DJ Quick and all this. And it had a really big influence on me, just as a person. Did the music that you were listening to coming up help to influence who you are or maybe stylistically as an artist?
Yeah, for sure. Music and just culture in general, that whole 90s culture that you're speaking of, like, and I was born in 95, so most of the 90s I kind of missed because I wasn't even old enough to remember, but I was still influenced by that culture because I went back and watched all of those old movies, listened to all that old music. And that culture like had a chokehold on me that like that era of music, that era of creation, it just had something over me that I could not explain. Like all the house party movies, Juice, the movie Juice, Paid in Full, all those different movies. When I was in college, while I'm on campus in the art building doing my work, I'm listening to A Tribe Called Quest in my headphones.
Wow.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like that era, it definitely influenced who I am and how in the way I create, a lot of vibrant colors, all of those things that was super important back in the day just to stand out, those things really influenced the way I create, and I've evolved as an artist from those early pieces because the silent artist, that was probably my first painting that I did where I was like, I'm gonna take this seriously. That was the first painting.
Oh, okay.
So I was literally just reaching from all of those, from all of that inspiration. Because the 90s, well, not even just specifically the 90s, but music in general, culture in general, hip hop culture. That was a big influence in my work. And it kind of worked against me in college, but it works for me now,
Yeah. No, that's great. Because when you were talking earlier about, artists being in a box, you know, when it comes to music, especially, you know, people around my age and older, a lot of them are stuck in the 90s. You know what I mean? It's, you know, that's as good as it ever gets. You know, for instance, I think Young Thug is a once in a generational talent, right? I think he could have survived anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy that, you know, put himself out there completely out of the box, right? I mean, his style, fashion, you know, had everybody talking about him, and he did care. He was still going to do things his way, no matter what. If you've got everybody conforming to doing the same exact thing, or you have to do it this way, or like you might have a, you know, a teacher in college, a professor might say, okay, well, these are the rules, you got to stick to it. But the people that stand out are the people who do take that chance and say, no, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it my way. And you know, if it feels good to me, then you know, this is what I'm gonna rock with. So in description, you were talking about you have the different shapes and colors in the background and how that I don't want to quote you wrong. I don't want to get it wrong. I want to make sure I got the right thing here. All right, the numerous shapes and colors that consume the background are a nod to that culture, to the hip hop culture. The contrast between the man in the foreground and the vivid backgrounds is an effort to show the drastic difference between what someone can show on the outside versus the personality that is inside of them. Now, I've got a question for you. Do you feel like your artwork is an extension of your personality? Is it solely how you feel inside? Or maybe, I mean, it could be you're just, you know, you want to draw something in a creative way. But is it more so your personality or the personality that you allow the viewers to see?
My artwork is the personality that I allow the people closest to me to see.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Oh, okay.
So
That's a good answer.
anybody who knows me knows I don't talk a lot, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not a big talker. I'm usually one of the most quiet people in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But as you get to know me, I open up more. I'm goofy. I play a lot. Like the people who know me for real, like, or close to me, they know I'm the most playful person in the world. I'm the most like out there person in the world, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're just somebody that I'm just meeting, I'm more observant. I'm quiet. I let you talk more so I can know who you are first to let myself know if I should let you in that side of my personality. So I feel like my artwork is that, you know, I'm letting the world into my personality, but it's without me saying a word. It's visually, you know, you see who I am visually.
Okay.
You know, but the people who know me the closest and who know me the best, they get that personality all the time.
Yeah.
So
it's just like a peek into you, you know.
It's just, you know, just you get to peek into my world. You know, you get to peek into who I am a little bit. Because anybody who knows me, like, I wear black most of the time.
Yeah.
But you'll be hard pressed to find any of my artwork that's black. You know, all my artwork is super colorful. I love all of those things in my artwork, but I wouldn't wear all of those colors like that. But you know, that's just who I am. You know, that's so dope. I feel like it's a good balancing act.
I keep saying that's, you know, everyone I talk about is one of my favorites, but yeah, that one, this one is one of my favorite pieces. All right, now this is for real. This is my favorite piece of yours. It's the one titled Energy.
Yeah.
And with the vivid blues, and because, you know, I look at art, especially something like that from a black artist, and I see myself in that. The first thing that came to my mind, the energy of the world is within you. And with that energy, you can do anything. What was the mind space you were in when you were creating this one?
Well, I would like to say that I think this is, I mean, it's pretty much my most recent piece. Well, one of my most recent pieces. And I feel like this piece was one of those pieces where I feel like I kind of turned the corner as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like over time, I think with each one of my paintings, I mature a little bit more. And I think my art evolves a little bit more with each painting, because that's a goal of mine, to make my next piece better than my last piece.
Yeah.
But with Energy, I think it's a reflection of where I am as a person. You know, I'm
Mhm.
more of a spiritual person now. You know, I really pay attention to the energy of
Yeah.
myself, of the people around me, the energy that I allow into
Yeah.
my home. You
Yeah.
know, I pay attention to all those things because I think energy is the most important thing that we have, that we really have control over.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
we control our energy. And I think when you stand strong in your energy,
Hmm.
whatever that energy may be,
Yeah.
is going to attract something,
Yeah.
you
Uh-huh.
know, whether that energy is good or bad. So that's why it's up to you to pay attention to what type of energy you're putting out into the universe, because the
Yeah.
universe is going to give it back 10 times over. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's what this piece was, you know, just somebody standing firm in their energy, you
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
And the reason I have the lightning wrapping around is because it's, you know, that lightning is being drawn to that person's energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Lightning is energy in itself. So it's being, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I guess you can say like a double entendre or play on
Yeah.
words if you will. But, you know, that's really all it is, just, you know, depicting somebody standing strong in who they are, standing strong in their energy, and energy being attracted to energy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. So have you ever had to cut some of that bad energy out of your life? I could imagine that you probably had some haters. Maybe you thought they were your friends. The way you describe yourself, I like to keep quiet too and observe. I think I'm very
Yeah.
observant, and have you ever had to just let loose that energy? Because when you let in that negative energy, whether you acknowledge it or not, I think it affects you somehow. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even on a spiritual level. So have you had to cut a few people out?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
uh,
Yeah, for
I-
sure. You know, and I think that just comes with age, man. As you get older, you gotta start paying attention to who you allow in your life. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because you got people who take from you, and you have people who add to who you are and contribute to where you're trying to be. So
yeah,
if you got people who taking from you, and you know what I'm saying, keeping you stagnant, that's bad energy.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And you can never evolve as a person unless you eliminate that energy, you know. So of course, yeah, you know, over the years as you grow older,
mhm,
if you're not outgrowing certain people, then you're
yeah,
probably not growing at all. So
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, for
No,
sure.
absolutely. Okay, so you're located in Louisiana right now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Shreveport, Louisiana.
Is there an art scene out there? Is there like a really?
Nah,
Okay, so if
nah.
you could though, if you could, just move anywhere right now, right, where would you go?
Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
This time next year, I plan to be in Atlanta. Way back when, people would go to New York to try to pursue art,
Yeah,
you know. But for me, I think Atlanta is the black person's New York. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I feel like
Uh-huh.
Atlanta is the black person's New York. So I think it's just a lot of opportunities out there. A lot of people who just want to see black people win out there. Wherever they want to see black people win, that's where I'm trying to be. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and where I am right now, I it's an art scene out here, but it's more of a traditional art scene. You know,
Oh, okay.
more
Okay.
of a kind of, I guess you could say like the art scene out here is more tailored towards the more rural type paintings, and
Oh, okay.
the
Okay.
old traditional type paintings where my art would be kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, people kind of like,
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah.
know,
Like a 90s
but it's
dude, talking about music now. Yeah, no, I get
yeah, it's yeah. So
it.
yeah, I gotta get, you know, and that's just the thing, you know, all art can't be appreciated everywhere, you
Yeah.
know. No
Yeah.
matter how good of an artist you are, your art won't be appreciated everywhere. You know, that's why you just have to be where it will be appreciated, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I always like to say that, the art, no matter what it is, who made it, if it speaks to you or not, it makes sense to somebody. You know what I mean? There's
Right,
someone
right,
who's going to get something out of it. There's another piece I wanted to talk about that I absolutely love. What was it called? GOAT, with Jordan and LeBron
right.
fighting. Basketball fan my entire life, Laker fan. The way that you depict it, it's like children fighting over a book. You know what I mean? And this discussion, I think, will never be settled. It's like asking someone who's the best rapper of all time. You're gonna get, you might get four or
Yeah,
five of the same people, but it's gonna be a different answer every time. Do you feel that when it comes to art, because man, I see this a lot, and it really upsets me when someone will have a black artist will have a piece, and then everyone will say Basquiat, even though it looks nothing like it, right? Even though the style looks
Yeah.
absolutely nothing like it, it really, I don't know, it pisses me off. Do you feel that black artists in particular put into a box because we got one really, really famous guy that people like?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's crazy because when I was in college, I was taking all these art classes. Obviously, I took art history,
Yeah.
and man, like honestly, now that I'm looking back on it, outside of Basquiat, I can only think of maybe two other black artists we covered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they were like so spaced out. Honestly, I can't even remember the names of them. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because they were all just like thrown in around all of these other white artists, and I feel like historically art has been dominated by white male artists. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I think that's an issue, but it's encouraging to see how many black artists are on their
Yeah.
way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And it was funny when you said that they automatically get compared to Basquiat because this one artist in particular I can think of that we probably both follow.
Uh,
I hope I don't say her name wrong, but it's Milan Young,
okay. Yeah.
Milan Young. You probably
Uh-huh.
follow her too. I think she'll be dope on here as well. But um, she's an abstract artist, and literally on probably every piece she
Yeah.
posts, somebody comments Basquiat or
Yeah.
this looks like something Basquiat. It's like, no, it doesn't.
Doesn't.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Not at
It's
all.
not the same. Like it's different. But just because she's an abstract artist and she's black, Basquiat. But
Uh-huh.
I think art is heading in a great direction with all of the black artists who are coming up
Yeah.
because as many of us that are coming up, some of us got to make it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Some of us are
Yeah.
really gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? And I hope I'm in that list of
Oh yeah. Yeah.
artists who
Yeah.
make
I
it.
would say so.
But you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Yeah, I appreciate that. But if I'm not, I can at least take some type of solace in knowing that some of those artists who are in my class, we kind of came up together. Those artists went on to,
Yeah.
be legends with the way culture is changing and technology is changing, the internet is changing, and we have so much access to each other. I think
Yeah.
art, while it's historically been dominated by the white male, I
Yeah.
think it's going to shift, and
Yeah.
that box that black artists keep getting put in
Yeah.
is going to disintegrate soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a so my favorite museum down here, it's called the Broad, in downtown LA. And there's this artist, Mark Bradford's his name, black dude. And I had never heard of him before, and he's from LA, you know what I mean? Like he's from down here. I never heard of him. And I remember walking up the stairs and he's got this big, huge, this giant piece that's, covers up the whole wall of this room that I'm in. The guy working at the museum, he came to me and he talked to me and he was explaining it all to me. The first thing that I thought was, man, this black man's painting is the first thing you see when you go into this museum. I wouldn't say it's easier now, but it's more accessible for other people to see, what you're creating, which is why I absolutely love Twitter. I sit at work and I look at art and retweet art all day. It is encouraging to see that, it's so many different people, different cultures. Like I follow a lot of Nigerian artists, people I follow in Japan and, Latvia, East. It's great, because from this one app, you can see art from around the world, stuff that you never would have seen before.
It's
Great.
almost like a renaissance, man.
Yeah, yeah, really.
It's
I mean,
almost
it
like a
really is.
renaissance.
All right, I wanted to ask you about NFTs. It's almost like 50-50. The people who think it's great, the people who aren't really into it. Maybe I don't know enough about it personally. I'm not an artist. I'm not, all of a sudden going to be throwing up NFTs trying to sell them. That's my issue too, because for the artist, I think it's great. Go ahead and make your money. If you can make some money doing that, go ahead and do it. But then you got like just random people. Oh, I'm selling NFT. I'm I'm like, that's not art though. You know what I mean? It's so have you thought about getting into that space or do you plan on it?
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know enough about it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not the thing for me. It's like I don't want to invest in something that I don't know enough about, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it can't be ignored. Like you see
Yeah.
people making more money off of one NFT than
Yeah.
some people making their entire life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Like
man.
people's lives are changing overnight with these NFT. Well, I don't want to say overnight because I don't know how long they've had them up and had them
Okay.
for auction for
Yeah,
that.
true.
But I mean, when you go to sleep one night without that amount of money and you wake up with it, that's overnight. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So your
Yeah.
life just changed overnight. So
Uh-huh.
um
And it's crazy
so
money
yeah,
too.
insane money. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
insane. Like and it keeps getting it keeps going up because the stock Ethereum, the cryptocurrency Ethereum, it keeps
Yeah.
rising. So the more it
Yeah.
rises, the more those numbers increase. So I just don't know enough about it right now. I'm not opposed to it
Yeah.
because, if something like that can change my life and put me in a position to put my family in a better position, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
To put me in a position to retire my mama, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh. Go ahead and
like
do
yeah,
that.
for sure, I'm gonna do that. But
Uh-huh.
right now it's just a process of learning more about it and
Mhm.
being educated on what I'm doing.
Some people got it, really, really tapped in. And I follow a
Yeah.
bunch of NFT artists. They make great work. The only reason I would ever buy one is just to support an artist. You know what I mean? I wouldn't resell it.
Mhm.
I would do it
Right.
just because I love what you do.
Some people just know that they can just flip it for more because I guess, if you're really big in the NFT space, you might buy an NFT for however much and you can flip it for, however much more. And from what I understand, it kind of does benefit artists in a way where
Mhm.
as long as that NFT continues to be traded, that
Yeah.
artist continues to get paid for it,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the
That's
original
dope.
artist. So
Yeah.
so I think that is a pretty cool thing about it, because when you sell a painting, once it's sold.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I just
Mhm.
don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And I can understand both sides of the coin. Like
Yeah.
people are like, oh, it's just a cash grab, it's just this
Yeah.
and that. But hey, if
Yeah.
it works for you, it works for you. You can't knock
Absolutely.
that.
No, no, you can't. You can't, especially artists get money, man. I love to see it. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
dope. So what would you say? Maybe there's a kid, maybe he's 10 or 11. He's thinking about being an artist. He knows he could draw, he knows he could paint, he's creative, but he's got no one to nourish those abilities. I wouldn't say you have to, spoil somebody with compliments, but just to be acknowledged for what you're doing, not knowing they can be an artist, when they grow up, that's something they can do for a living.
Uh, a kid who doesn't know there's something they can do for a living. I mean, the first thing I would tell them is that you can for sure do this for a living. And then after that, it just comes with figure out why you want to do this for a living.
Oh, yeah.
And that will
Yeah.
tell you if you should do this for a living. Because the why part of it is the biggest part of it. The why
Mhm.
part of it is the thing that influences the type of art you create. It influences how much you create art. It influences how much joy you put into your work and how much joy you get from your work. So
Mhm.
figure out why. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You can tell me, oh, I want to be an artist. Okay, why? My why was because there's nothing else out there that I could imagine doing for the next 30, 40, 50 years of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To that kid out there, if that is really what you want to do, it's out there for you.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is stay consistent, continue to practice and get better. And by the time you're my age, you're years and years and years ahead of me. Like,
Yeah.
cause like I said, I'm only about 3 or 4 years into really understanding that this is what was for me.
Yeah.
Imagine a kid that's out there 12, 13 years old that knows that
Mhm.
this is for them.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the time they're 26, they're already 12, 13 years in.
Yeah.
They know, like they've been knowing. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think that's what makes athletes so great. They've
Yeah.
known since they were 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing they've been working towards their entire life. So by the time they reach the point where they can realize it, they're ready for that moment. You know what I mean? So I think that goes with anything, and especially with art. It's all about practice and getting better.
What would you say to that artist that is thinking about giving up because maybe they haven't gotten there yet, or they don't think they've got enough followers, they don't think enough people have seen their work, and just decide to call it quits?
I tell myself this every morning: it only takes one moment, for everything to change. Just keep going. Just if this is what you love and this is what you want to do, just keep going. It only takes one moment. Like, I think people are so caught up in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Just stay in the moment, because 5 minutes from now, everything in your life can change. You know what I'm saying? Because the good thing about art, especially right now, goes back with what we were talking about with the social media aspect of it. People have unlimited access to your work. All it takes is for one right person to see your art. So all of those 100 no's, 1,000 no's, 1,000,000 no's you could have gotten in the past, all it takes is one yes. You know what I mean? And I think when you're a creator, whether that's art, whether that's music, whether that's poetry, whatever, it only takes one person, one moment to see your work, and everything can change. You know what I mean? So, and it's funny because I always think about that picture where it's like the two dudes in the gold mine, and the one dude is so close to getting the gold, but he gave up and turned around, and it's the other dude right there. He's still going. And it's like, I never want that to happen. I never want to be so close and give up when it was literally right there. You know what I mean? So that's what I can say to anybody who's thinking about giving up. It's like, only because I'm not the type of person to say just never give up, because if it's not for you, it's not for you. You know what I mean? So only give up if you know without a shadow of a doubt that it's not for you. I was a teacher 3 months ago.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was a teacher 3 months ago.
Wow.
It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. That's literally why I'm in Shreveport, because I was teaching. I came here to be a teacher, and after a year, I realized this it's not for me.
That's not it.
It's no shame in giving up. It's no shame in quitting something that's not for you, because at the end of the day, it's not serving you. It's not feed into your purpose in life anyway. So what's the point of holding on to it just for the sake of saying I didn't give up? But never give up on something you believe in. I don't care what anybody says about it. Like, if I would have listened to everybody, every single person who gave their opinion on what I'm doing, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. So don't give up on something you believe in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I saw this. I forgot who posted it, but someone had posted this something on their Twitter, and it said, "If you can't stop thinking about it, don't stop doing it." And
exactly.
I screenshot that. I put that on my phone. I look at this every day. Check out his website, gqart.com. Your handles. You want to give your handles real quick?
My Instagram is GQArt, all one word. Twitter is _GQ_. All I can say is, to anybody who's out there who's a creator, create with yourself in mind first. You know what I'm saying? Don't create with the audience in mind. Create with yourself in mind. Your audience will come to you. You don't go to your audience. The audience comes to you. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to energy, like I said, people are attracted to energy. Like energies will attract to each other. So, you know what I'm saying? Put yourself out there. Be vulnerable in your art. Be honest in your art. And the audience you're looking for, they'll come to you.
Like I said, a big fan. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's awesome.
I appreciate it, man. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. I really respect what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Because, the platform you're creating is going to give artists a voice that, we previously haven't had, and, so that's important. That's important for this wave of artists to be seen and, what you're doing is gonna keep getting bigger, and it's gonna, you know, really put a lot of artists in position to have some real success. So a lot of artists are gonna have you to thank for that.
Thank you. All right, everybody. GQ, thank you again, man, so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.